Hey folks, Noalicious here, and I am making a Season 1 update video. There's been a lot of changes added, especially for zombies in this update. I'm kind of happy about most, if not all of these, but let's get right into this. So starting, we have 2 new weapons this season in the Battle Pass that you can get, and that will be the Krig C, which is essentially just the Krig 6 from Cold War. It's a great AR. And then also the SOG SMG, which if you remember that was in Black Ops 4. It's essentially like a semi-Uzi clone, but I haven't tried that gun yet. Hopefully it's good. Anyways, yeah, let's get right into the zombies updates. So there was a lot of little map changes and bug fixes on Terminus and Liberty Falls. We will get into the bug fixes later, but I want to get into the map changes really quick. And there's a few ones addressing like Easter egg related bugs. So when you are defusing the bomb step, sometimes if you would stop that mid-defuse in the Easter egg, it would reset your progress. That's no longer an issue. If you jump into the Gersh device or the Casimir portal after completing the Easter egg, you'll no longer get teleported to the boss fight and die. That's been fixed. There was a door collision issue that has to do with Pack-a-Punch that's been fixed, so you shouldn't have to worry about that anymore. And also during the Easter egg, they fixed multiple bugs where you would have overlapping voice lines, but that is over, so you don't need to worry about that anymore, thank God. And then here's another little update. This one was kind of weird for me. The ammo crate by Deadshot underneath the cannon trap in Terminus has been moved. Now I'll show a little image on screen. It's not the best image, but it's right essentially when you first enter that area to the right of the cannon, now up the hill, on top of the hill. So if you're like me and that's the area you like to train, the ammo buy is now in a lot more of a convenient location. So on Liberty Falls, there's been a really nice change to help you get the jet gun. So on Liberty Falls, when you shoot off a Mangler arm, only the first Mangler is guaranteed to drop its cannon. That's now been changed, so now that every Mangler that you kill, if you blow off its arm, will drop a cannon. That's super nice. And now also Blankard, our favorite new character, all of his dialogue will be present, and there will be no more bugs where his dialogue is getting skipped. Now let's get into the weapon balancing. A lot of the weapons have been changed. All for the best though. It's mostly just ARs and 1 SMG. All of the ARs have received a damage buff to crit damage, distant damage, and headshot damage all around. Few of them, like the AS Val, have received a little bit less of a critical damage multiplier, just toned down a little bit because that gun was already really busted. The GPR 91's like that too, but still overall they will all be doing more damage. The last change, which is really good, the HE1 launcher. This is one that people have been talking about, that after you Pack-a-Punch it gets worse. Thankfully they have now fixed that, so you'll have a lot more ammo in your stock. The blast radius has been increased a lot. From all the way from 3.2 meters to 5 meters, that's a lot. And also the damage output of this gun after Pack-a-Punch has been boosted. So now you don't have to worry about getting camos on this thing without it being Pack-a-Punched, because now it is much better. Now let's get into a few more bug fixes. So the zombie weapons, when you equip a weapon as your zombie loadout, so when you pull it from the box and you get those attachments and camos on it, that used to not always work. That has now been fixed, so now if you're pulling your weapons out of the box or off the wall, you will have the right attachments and camos, which is really nice. The exploit that let players have 3 weapons has been patched, so if you're still trying to do that in your games, give up. That is over, unfortunately. I'm sure Mule Kick is coming in the next couple seasons though, so don't worry, we'll have our 3 weapons back soon enough, I hope. And here's one that's personally affected me a lot. Wall buy rarities. When you would save and quit, the rarities of the weapons would reset on the walls. That was really annoying. That's been fixed now. So if you save a game on 20 and come back, the weapons should still be purple and blue on the walls, not green anymore, and you don't have to restart. Also, I'm not sure what this last bug fix means, but it has to do with the ray gun. Addressed an issue where yellow damage numbers would appear when critically hitting a spot with the ray gun. I'm not sure if that means that the damage on the ray gun has just been overall the same and critical hits with it are over. I'm not sure what that's about, but if you know, just feel free to leave in the comments. Now, a few perks have been changed. I'm really happy about this one. The Dying Wish augment for Quick Revive has been bugged for a while. So now, if you're falling from a large distance without it killing you, it used to still activate it anyways. That's over, that's been fixed. So you don't have to worry about taking fall damage with Dying Wish anymore. Elemental Pop used to bug out and not always activate the AAT that you had on your gun. It used to not activate that as much. That has also been fixed now. It will now activate your normal AAT as much as it should, as well as the additional ones from Elemental Pop. Now here is the biggest perk update for me, the Turtle Shell Augment in Zombies, the one where it makes armor act like a traditional shield where you only take damage mitigation on your back, but none from your front. Essentially what was happening before on Terminus is the amalgam, when it would suck you in, is you wouldn't get any damage reduction when you're using that augment. So what would happen is on the later rounds, his pull attack would end up doing 250 damage and able to one-shot you, and it wasn't very balanced. That's been fixed now, where now if you get pulled in by that attack, it will apply damage reduction to the amalgam. So that augment is now perfectly viable again, and I totally believe you should be using it. It's incredibly strong. Also, PhD Flopper, I know a lot of people have been complaining about this one, where sometimes if you're like diving on like an uneven surface like a hill or a staircase, your PhD explosion wouldn't always go off. That has been fixed now, so that should be happening 100% of the time. So no more dying when we get those SAM trials for PhD Flopper. Here's a Gobblegum bug fix. There's only been one, but this one also personally affected me a lot. Near-death experience. Now when you're revived by it, players will keep all of their perks. Before it wasn't working like that, but it's now working as intended, so please feel free to start using that gum again for the Easter eggs. Now we're moving on to field upgrades, where there's been a few important changes. This first one's not that important. It just says Energy Mine will no longer say that it deals electric damage and will actually deal the right damage that it's supposed to. That's not really a big deal. I don't know why it's saying it deals electric damage over like physical damage matters, but that's been changed. Here's the big one, Dark Flare. We can all agree that Dark Flare is pretty much the worst field upgrade in zombies right now, but they have upgraded it so it now does 40% of their health per tick instead of 20, so essentially doubling the damage that it does. So I'm sure Dark Flare is going to be a lot more viable now. And then this is a big one. I didn't think this would be changed because this was like this in Cold War, but now if you change your field upgrades mid-game and you already have a full charge on the one that you have, you will now keep your full charge when you change field upgrades, which is really nice because I struggle with that a lot. I will change my field upgrades mid-game and then have to restart all the progress and recharge it, and that's always a pain in the butt, so I'm glad that's all better now. Now when it comes to support streaks, we've had two changes for the mutant injection and one for the LDBR. The mutant injection ones aren't that crazy. The first one is apparently mutant injections would end early sometimes when you're near water. I was unaware of that, but that has been fixed. And then this one addressed an issue that allows players to pick up a sentry turret while using the mutant injection. I'm not sure why you do this one anyways, but you cannot do that anymore. I'm not sure why, but that's over. And then this last one is a huge one. The self damage from the LDBR. If you've used this in game, you know that this will kill you. Drops 2 bombs on your head, 2-3 bombs, and you'll die. It has now reduced the damage from that, so you shouldn't have to worry about killing yourself with that over and over like I used to. And then there's been one saving game feature. So apparently there was a bug that allowed you to keep a save file even after you've already loaded it. That's been fixed now. So after you load a save file, that save file will go away unless you resave that game again on a later round. Now, as we get into the enemies adjustments of this blog post, I just want to say a lot of the changes coming up are going to be a little bit more non-essential, not many important ones. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip most of them, but I'm still going to show them all on screen like I have been. So our first change is a brain-rotted zombie before could every once in a while prevent you from being able to exfil if it was still alive. That has been completely fixed. On Terminus, sometimes the amalgam could pull you into a wall and that would cause you to get stuck there and you would have to end your game. That has also been fixed. And then the last important one for enemies is sometimes the abomination couldn't spawn inside Fuller's Liberty Lanes. That has now been fixed. So if you were wondering before, if you were training in there and you would run outside of there on like a weird round and one would spawn in, that's why that would happen, because it couldn't spawn in there with you. But that's all fixed now. Next, I'm going to put the activities and XP earn rates adjustments up on screen at the same time, just because there's really nothing to talk about here. The only one little thing that I want to talk about is the updated SAM trials that require the player to not take damage. If you remember before, it would show a timer of how much time you have to not take damage for to progress. Now it's going to be a progress bar, and I gotta say, I don't like that. I feel like that's a lot harder to tell how much time you have left to do. I don't know, I just think that's a silly change. There was also a ton of challenge bug fixes, just a lot of them, like 10 of them. So I'm only going to cover the Dark Ops ones since those are the most important anyways. So the first Dark Ops fix was the social distance and invincible challenges. Before you could kind of glitch that by joining another player's game and then they would just pop up for you. You can't do that anymore, so if you were planning on doing that, sucker, don't glitch, don't be a pussy, get it naturally. And then the next one is the Sticks and Stones challenge. Before, you could just load into a previous saved game on 25 plus, and you could get that. That has now been fixed, so you also have to do that naturally as well. The only important AFK detection change is that a kick warning will now be added to your UI right before you will get kicked, which is very nice. Now there's been lots of little UI bug fixes, but there's only 2 big UI changes that are worth noting. Gobblegums have received a bit of a visual tone up. They look a lot better now. Go check them out in game. And then next is there's now an in-game timer added to your scoreboard, which is nice and helpful. It's just off to the right when you pull up your scoreboard. And our last little topic is going to be graphics and stability. I'm going to do these both at the same time. So there's really been no important changes. The only stability change I want to talk about is before there was a bug where if you tried to save and quit your game, there would be an error, and the error would say game failed to save for unknown reason, please try again later, but it would never actually work. That has now been fixed, so you won't have that bug anymore. Last huge and obvious change is guided mode has now been added to zombies. Liberty Falls and Terminus both have a guided mode. It is a little bit bugged right now. If you are trying to do guided mode Easter egg with one of your friends and you turn off the fill, it bugs out and removes the maps from the suggestions. So you can only play with a friend if you do it in a full public match, which is a little annoying, but it's not that bad. All of the gameplay that you've seen behind you right now is from me playing in a public lobby on the Liberty Falls guided mode. It's a great mode, it's super hand-holdy, and that's it. This video is long as hell. Let me get out of here. I need to go eat some fucking lunch. I'm hungry, but have a good one. Peace out.